So hello guys, welcome to the so I will be sharing my screen. Please indicate if you can see my screen. So I'll be taking us I'll be taking us with what we ought to have started last week. It feels like last week already. What we on I will be on there. So I hope you all had a very wonderful week. Pretty sure I had set up fragrance and all that. Hello, Zainab. You all hear me? Okay. So what is I would say I very simple definition of cloud. Call it a collection of that are communicating with each and so a collection of cloud of internet that we can access without being there physically. What I'm saying here is it's more like a fancy word. It's more or less of a collection of that don't belong to you. Yeah. So it's more like a fancy word of a collection of a collection of servers, like I already said, that does not belong to you. You have access to, you pay to get of that connection. So more like having your you have it's not and you are using it as it. Now, what are some of the advantages or some of the characteristics in like a computing environment? One of those characteristics is it has to be in you need to have internet access to have access to a cloud service. It's also another thing is it's also it's like it also says a pay as you go service. You pay for. I think that's one of the good parts of it, and that's one thing I really like so much about to expend a lot of money and keep them in where you don't need them. It's all on demand. It's when you need it, you it when you don't need it, you also put it short on that. So and automated. Most of them have automated configurations without you having to set the manual things. Yeah, it's high and successfully and the best is rapidly elastic. So you can to whatever is it for, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can increase, you can use as so it's highly elastic. Now let's ask why to go cloud computing? Why would anyone think that it has to go cloud computing? As I've just said, rapid, elastic, on demand, whenever you want to have access to it. It's cost effective, very adaptability to business. You know, business adapt saves money for engineers. Yeah, dollars. Yeah, really nice. So now, what are the types of cloud computing? What are kind of computing that we know of? Now, there's what we call the deployment model for platform as a service. But however, it's not a type of cloud computing. It's a service. So there's what we call the deployment for the. We have the public hybrid, exactly. Yeah, so that's really nice. So, and then we also have something that just came up recently. Multi-cloud. Multi-cloud is an approach where company is using solutions at the same time. It's an approach where a company is using multiple cloud solutions at the same time. In AWS and Azure, and interconnectivity between all of them. So that's just what you call multi-cloud. The service hybrid cloud is when and you also have a subscription to a cloud solution. You what most of the banks do, right, is they keep their database on their database locally here in the country because of the regulations. Because of the CBN regulations against having your database out here in Nigeria, and you're a cloud service to manage your resource, your services, or other things. So that's the multi-cloud. That's what we call the hybrid cloud. Now, under the service categories, we have like Yowo said, we have the PaaS, which is a very that's where a cloud computing, the AWS EC2 instances, and we have infrastructure as a service. Those are the two major service categories. Two major service categories that we have. Now, one should be asking ourselves is, why cloud? Is the cloud? Yes, the cloud is secure. The model which everybody has to use the cloud. There is the security model and there's the user security model. Platform security is owners of the cloud decide to protect their from external hacking and quite a lot of money to help protect of the system or this end. The user security model the users also, because they have been protected by you also have some certain level of responsibility model which you are in place to ensure that you are also protecting the services that you have you are paying for from intruders. Take for instance, you're taking up a database instance. As AWS gives you an database instance, stop you from setting up your data, allowing your database is the public internet. It always does, and they don't advise that you allow every traffic into your database. Itself is a security risk. So to protect your services from your own end, again, the cloud protect the services from their own end of the bargain. So very interesting thing that I've always asked and I've always understood about the cloud is showing who is not seeing screen anymore. I just have one thing on my screen. Can you all hear me? Thank you, Samson. So one exciting thing about, you can't see me, no, you can't see me, but you can hear me. About the cloud is you access your what cloud. Now, one of the big that's actually I think you need to take a look at your internet or something, probably your device. Now, one of the things that happened is that the events of COVID-19 actually unfolded a lot of business. It's unfolded the way a lot of people started doing things. It's a lot of people realize that you can work remote. People realize that you don't need to manage these things on-prem, and you can do most of the things you need to do remotely, and actually grew the sense or identified people to understand that cloud has come to stay. Technology was even far much more apparent when they realized that there's a lot of performance between existing and what they knew at that point in time that was here to stay, and that cloud. So what is the of cloud has just really increased even more. 20 have adapted to cloud. There's a lot of people that have been able to see the importance of cloud since 2020. It's not going down anytime soon. So I'll be let's go on to the next thing, which is questions. If you have any questions, your questions, I will be doing a more of an interactive session of saying a things really. So we have crypto is the future. We're talking about cloud. What cloud, the crypto systems that you know about is what we call distribution cloud solutions. I think we're going to be going into that. Now, so what is an operating system? It's more like the interface between computer hardware components and the user. So it just gives you what GUI, the graphics user interface. Yeah, GUI to allow you through the components of of the hardware, the computer language as we used to know of it. Back then, I'm sure most of us may have watched some of these old movies where you put on a computer, see a black and green screen. What it was back then, but it has happened and it has evolved. The history of the operating system was developed in the 1950s, and the reason why that was done was actually to manage a storage. That was the initial study of that, and and were the first to implement this operating system in the 90s. They were using that just for storage. They were using that storage, and the first that made him the first operating system of the DOS, and they pushed it up to the Windows operating system that we right now that we use. There are so many operating systems in the market. According to share for operating systems, the most widely used operating system is the Windows, followed by the Android operating system, then the iOS. Those of us that claim to be Mac users, we are in number 5 and just have only less than 4.5% of users that use Mac. So types of operating systems. So types of operating systems, we have the batch of operating systems, real operating systems, which is what the Tech invention of is what actually giving rise to the growth of crypto as we know it today. Systems and things like that. So very boring thing. The purpose of this session, I really don't think we need to go that deep into all that. There are a lot of study points here that we can get to understand more operating systems. Now let's go to Linux. I'll start by saying Linux is a type, and various there are various. These are some of the distributions that we know of. Some of them are of older ones. The SUSE Linux is an American-based company. Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Xubuntu, they're all offshoots of Debian. Unix, Mandriva, and so on. Oh yes, so you can see there's the Debian, Fedora, and the SUSE, which I just said. That these are the major Linux. The Debian, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, XE Linux, Edo Linux, and Fedora is what gave birth to the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. That's what the RHEL means. Enterprise Linux. That they used to have things like Solaris, Wandari, Mandriva used to be on it. These were school Linux systems that we used to have back then, and CentOS also and the Linux, the Oracle Linux from the Red Hat Linux. The SUSE, this of base system. That's where most back then it used to be just the banks, the top multinationals that could afford to use it, and they were it's banks, the top multinationals that could afford to use it back in the days. They were really more, and my screen better now. Maybe for just for the top database management. That's what they used to use it for back in the day. It's a lot of they are gradually going out. I mean, they've that change that has happened in the industry so far. So now let's talk about the kernel architecture. So the Linux kernel architecture is architecture. You need to understand there is the user space, which is the space where you and I, the space where we can make commands to the kernel, and to the kernel, and the picks up that call and sends whatever call or whatever command you've made to the. There are two types of kernel: the monolithic kernel and the micro. Basically, the monolithic kernel is what we are all familiar. It's the traditional Linux kernel architecture. Linux. That's it is a modern day Linux kernel, and it supports more approach. Supports more or less. Please, can you scroll on your system? Probably. Are you using your phone or are you using your laptop? Please, if you're seeing my screen, can you hello? Yeah, I think we should. I have shut down my system myself, so yeah, I don't. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I want it to just see if that's the issue. Please, maybe that might be where you might be having some issues. Yeah, all right, guys. So, have the micro kernel, which of the kernels, that is what we're talking about, real enterprise based. That those kind of things. The user space. Now, like I said, the user space is where we make all the commands, all executed commands we make is done on the user space. That's the front, the terminal that we all know. Now, that space does not allow you to directly access hardware of your system. Every command you make on the user space, it goes through the kernel, and it's then transmitted to the hardware. You're trying to make this using a syscall process. The size of your hard drive. Once you make the command df-h human readable, then send that command now to the hard the information from the hardware and returns it through the kernel back to the user. So that's it. Then for the user space has the different users, the admin users, and users whom you've created for that user to have. Basically, the admin has the admin has more administrative rights. That's what we call us, and that gives us a lot more access to the system. There's what we call process management, which is what you've seen here on the kernel architecture. Handling and of the various processes which are running at the same time. The various processes, you just use the PS AUX and you should be able to see all the various. You have the memory management, manage the memories of the system. Importantly, part of the Linux system is the LFS, which is the Linux file system. The Linux is more like graphical data structure, and this shows organizes your file system, puts them in the right spaces where you're making your calls to anything. It would be able to help you assess that. That is any questions so far? Any questions? All right. Okay, let me go to and see. Make cloud different from the web. The cloud is the web. The cloud is the web. Because the web as you know of it today is. I would say the cloud is the web. There's nothing so much that is that makes them quite different. Please, I just need to confirm. Run my system to ensure that okay. I think I'll just the Linux machine. We can see here there are three major ways of setting up it. You can install them on bare metals. Try to use virtual machines. You can decide to use virtual, and then you can decide to use containers. I have used all three at in my career. Very interesting, very. But using when we talk about bare metals, we're talking about basic servers without any installation on it. Oh, sorry about that, Marianne. Please, if I'm too fast, it would be great for you to tell me. Could I explain the exercise 2 and sure I can. Exercise 2. Where's exercise 2? Exercise 1 is okay. Yeah, we're heading there. That's exercise 1, exercise 2. I can't say exercise 2. I'm pretty sure we're ahead. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Yeah, we can see samples of containers. I'm going to show samples of containers. So the bare metal is more like just empty server. All the system, you just take Linux distro or server. The bare metal, that's just a container without an operating system. So any container without an operating system is called the. We're going to use GUI. Once upon a time, we're going to use GUI. Well, welcome to Linux. So that's just basically what we call metal. The virtual machines, it's more like picking up and into different having breaking them into different, partitioning them into different RAM resources, libraries, and CPUs and so on. Then so here you have one bare metal and having multiple OSs in it, like 3, 4 OSs. But we can use an illustration of a duplex. So when a own house in a duplex is, you can regard to him as a bare metal because he's the one that owns the house. He's living there with his family. Everything there belongs to him. For virtual machines, we're talking about things like let's take a look at building flats, 4 different families, 4 different owners, paying owner of the house. That's an example of virtual machines in a bare metal. Containers is more like a hostel where no, I don't mean it's just virtual helps you build virtual machines. It's just a software. It's not that's not what I mean by bare metal, by virtual machines. I mean the ability, what Sandbox is helping you achieve. What they help the market your system to allow you multiple use system. That's what I mean by VirtualBox. Please kindly email this call. I'm sorry. So now when we talk about the containers is more like a hostel, where a school hostel, for instance, multiple students have just their bunk space in a room, 15, 20 people who have in a room with their lockers, managing a small space. That's just basically what sorry, no answer call. That's just basically what we mean by containers. So I will containers. I have, if I can share. Yeah. So this is, I believe you all can see my screen. This is an example of. This is an example of a container solution. I wish I can make this bigger. I really do wish I can make it bigger, but I can't make it bigger. It's a Docker solution. Some of the containers I have my system or exited from my system, which containers. I'm sorry, I can't make it bigger. Please, I can't make it bigger. If you then running and all that. So, and it's of Docker. Another example is the CRI, and there is pod. And I couldn't zoom that. No, sandboxes are not. Sandboxes are not. Sandboxes, the test environment where you can actually where you can actually have you can do anything you want to do, operating system. And we have more than one image in a container. No, you can't have an image in a container. It is where the container is built from. Rather, you can have multiple containers from an image, but you can't have an image in a container. But reference to a computer hardware. Okay, fine. Thank you for that. So most installed virtual and Vagrant container for Linux to work. Trying to believe we install VirtualBox for Linux to work on Windows or Mac. No. You can decide to use you can decide to use the Windows come with an hypervisor, so you can decide to use the default Windows use VMware page as virtual machines, virtual configurations and things like that. So there are a lot of applications you can use. You must install VirtualBox. But however, VirtualBox was created by Red Hat. It's one of the industry standards, and it's also well maintained and so much by Sil. Yes, I can explain the kernel again. So apparently, I can say the Linux kernel is a space that actually manages. It's more like the brain box of, I can call it the brain box of Linux as we know of it today. So the is what takes the commands that the user has made. It takes that command, reads the command, and command to the app, to the place, right, to the laptop or to your, and gets back the information and returns the information back to you. So the brain box of the communication between you, the user, server. That's just practically what it is. It's more like it has full access to most part of your memory, and also directly, like I said, and also has direct access to hardware resources like the RAM, the hard drive, and so on and so forth. It's just basically what the middleware. Can you make image and containers? Yeah. To go so images and containers. However, it's not. I think it's something that we're going to discuss about much later. It's part of the things that we're going to talk about in the. Well, thank you for correcting me, Oracle. Not Oracle owns VirtualBox. It's been a while, so containers are contain all necessary elements to run in any environment. In this way, containers visualize and operating. Yeah, thank you so much for getting that from Google. That's quite intrusive. Oh yes, so that I was asked initially, these are some of the virtual hosts you can use: VirtualBox, VMware, Parallels. Parallels is for Mac, Hyper-V, like those. Is Qemu and Citrix. Trust me, I tried using Citrix. It was a hell of a pain. It was a problem. Some of the distribution mediums, medium virtual machines, you can install them, OSs to your virtual machines using a CD drive, an ISO message, images. You can virtual machine images. Every virtual machine has an image. Machine is stored as an image, and you can store those images. For source code, you will have I think that is so much of an hassle. Yeah, so I think you guys said I should take the first exercise. So taking up the first exercise for you guys, and you to 20 on your local machine and customize your necessary with to DHC. So I will be taking. All I just simply need now is to get my system. Before I need about 2 or 3 minutes to. How do we submit our assignment, please? And you can all add me on this. Just with me on my GitHub account. And containers more understandable. Okay. So far so good. Please, does anybody have any questions to ask before we move on to the part of I'm practically for the page. Okay. And now the task is to set up a Windows. So I think one of the first things that we need to do is let's see what Vagrant files. So get Vagrant files on Ubuntu. Yeah, I know it's quite simple, but I'm just looking for the boxes. Yeah, Vagrant boxes. That's fine. Use Ubuntu 20. You can use Ubuntu 22. So I will start by opening my terminal. Yeah, it's quite small, but please. My terminal. Can you all see my terminal? Okay, thank you. That's strong. So what I've just basically done now is I've created a file. What OS am I using? I'm using a Mac OS. Mac. I've created a file on my and I've called it Vagrant because it's where I want to do my Vagrant configuration. So some of the things that you would need for Vagrant. Some of the things that you need for Vagrant is the virtual machine. Wow, Samson, which I go Germany. Please, you have visa. I don't go mind though. Together. So you would have you need to have VirtualBox running. As you can see, my VirtualBox. Going to tell me I did install my VirtualBox. Another thing again you need to have running is the virtual install Vagrant. We installed will install Vagrant. Install Vagrant unnecessary, but it's a simpler UI to actually manage it. So the Vagrant manager. It's not app, it's my system. I'm trying to take us through the assignment as you have. So this is just going to be for I'll just create a new window. Now for those of us that don't have Windows, for those of us that don't have a Linux system, one of the things that you can actually do in your Linux system is to install the thing you can do is to install what we call WSL. I will give you. I'll put a site on the link right now. I'll just use as an example for the WSL. So we can install like this from this subject. We go to /. My Mac is Intel. My Mac is Intel actually. Okay, it can install. My Mac is Intel. So I think you all should is ubuntu.com/WSL. What WSL would actually give to you is it will give you the same interface, the same Linux interface that we know of. It will allow you to install Linux packages. It will give you a Linux kernel on your Windows machine, which would make it a whole lot actually practice Linux commands within the Microsoft environment. So I'm sure you can all see my black screen. Please bear with us. This is the part that we or I mean have a choice than just to do it. So the next thing we need to do, please, you would all, yeah, and I used it to install Vagrant Windows. I'm using Ubuntu on VirtualBox. I hope that's fine. That's really fine. I will just in it. Now this is just initializing my Vagrant environment, and if you can see, it sets up a Vagrant file. You can actually take a look at and see all the things that are there. You can easily configure it. You can change whatever configuration you want to change in it. Change the networking. This is the part where we're going to be doing next. The UI, give it the RAM that we want to give to it, and so on and so forth. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I want to add a Vagrant box. Vagrant box add Ubuntu. Ubuntu slash Ubuntu 20, right? Please, I just need to confirm something. Yeah, okay, Ubuntu Focal 4. So Vagrant box add Ubuntu Vagrant box add Ubuntu Focal 64. That's just all we need to do. Can I run YSL and the same box? Yes, exactly. You can. YSL is just a command line that gives you, like it's just a command terminal that gives you the kernel that you Linux machine. So it gives you a Linux kernel in machine. I think the one I used YSL for the first time 20 or so, 20, I think 2012, 2012 or 2013. So what it did was opportunity to use the Linux kernel in my Windows machine. So you can install the YSL and use that to install Vagrant, use that to install Box and all that and all those kind of things. You can actually use. What if I install Linux Mint? It still doesn't. What's up? You would definitely going to need Vagrants of this of this. We are going to use whatever for everything I want to do. Vagrant is just an application that you can on machines basically. YSL works with all Windows. So I'll be taking answers while my Linux box is actually installed. Does that mean that we have now? Does that mean that what we have now after Vagrant SSH is not Ubuntu? How do you mean? Kind of learning Linux difficult because we're learning Linux because that is the foundation of practically because most servers 90% of the servers in the world are using Linux, and it's a very beautiful thing to use. We're learning Linux because you need to understand how to navigate your way as a system administrator. You're not just going to be a cloud engineer. As a cloud engineer, you need to be a systems administrator. You need to have a very good practical knowledge. Process work for M1 Max as well. Now, however, there's a problem with M1 Max. Now, the issue with M1 Max is the fact the M1 Max doesn't use. So the M1 Max, uses the ARM64. The Intel processors uses the is it ARC64 also. So there's the challenge you're going to have with M1 Mac is that the VirtualBox would M1 Mac. If there is a VirtualBox right now for M1 Mac, but the VirtualBox will not be able to Mac. Now that is the challenge. So the best ways to use Vagrant with the M1 is a container. That's one of the best ways of using Vagrant with the M1 Mac. I was hoping that I should be able to take us through an installation with a container for the Vagrant box. Let's just see how it goes. If we can do that, but it's not supposed to be for the purpose of this training because that is a whole lot. That's a lot of work. So my Vagrant machine is up, and you can see my Vagrant file is still there. Yeah, don't worry, you are getting there. Lucky, relax. You go walk the walk. My Vagrant box is up. So once I Vagrant up, so if any fix error. This kind of error also. Apart from Linux, foundation for cloud engineering language. I'm honest with you, I've not seen the full I've not seen the full but a need for us to learn Bash. I hope we're not going to have some issue learning that, but we need to use some form of to set up our systems and everything. So yeah, at some point we might actually need to use I have my fragrance. I have my fragrance installed. I have my fragrance provisioned. Fragrance running. So basically, if you want to see all the commands that you can do with fragrance dash H, you see everything with fragrance. The system, for instance, to do is vagrant logging. I'll be able to log into it. So, yeah, so this is to log into the system. If I know the user and password, this particular system, I just input that and with that, give me the username and password. If I do my vagrants, it gives me access to my vagrants. So this is this is the Ubuntu system I've already installed. No, they are not the same thing. This system I've already installed, running. So what else again in the questions that we need? What's the difference between vagrant and vagrant init? Vagrant add is vagrant init initialize the vagrant on that particular system, that ability for vagrant add is add a box into what you already initiated. So if you do a vagrant init, and you want that particular vagrant init you've done, you just do the vagrant add. Can anyone see my screen? Click the full to see what happened. What is a vagrant or vagrant machine? If I need to want to see, so what's to do? I've 20 for my system. Then the next thing is to customize your vagrant. So it says the next thing is to customize your vagrant file as necessary with private network. For us to do that, we need to shut down our vagrant machine. Now, and obviously, vagrant down is the next thing we need to do. So once vagrant should be thank you very much. Thank you. What do we need to do? Okay, I will be doing something once a minute. I will a little bit step forward. Now, for us to actually configure a private IP, you'd need to first and foremost understand the private IPs that you can actually give to your Vagrant network. So your Vagrant IP should actually be on an IP that is within your own network IP values and things like that. So I'm going to use the 192.168. Lawan, we're here. Whatever questions you have, please try to ask these questions now. So I'll be editing the Vagrant file here. So I'm going to be doing two things. I will be doing this. So what I've just done now is I have allowed the port forwarding from the guest 80 to the host 8080. Let's do that after the priority one we want to do first, which is the network. So we're going to be editing the network, the private network, which is this. So I'm going to call this, mine is already on 33.10, so I'm going to leave it at 33.10. We can't see your screen no more. Wow, who can't see my screen, please? Oh, sorry. I can't see my screen either. Yeah, so that's copying this. What I'm going to do now is I want it, so I had to something is very unnecessary. So where do you want to flip it from? Going back to I stopped my Vagrant hot, which one of you actually explained to me. To edit my Vagrant file so I will be able to have access to it with a private network. So I'm using the file. This is where you have. This is where you do so many. If you want to use Ansible on your Vagrant machine, this is where you configuration. This of the box. Here is where you configure the network. If you want the host to be on, if you want to port forward that same host on your own IP, actually do the port forwarding. Do that, but for now, let's just remove this command to my IP. That's going to use 192.168. Probably some of us don't have Nano on our CMD. Install Nano on your CMD, please. You can install Nano on your CMD. In Ubuntu, use the app install Nano. Using a Windows, Mac OS, use the brew install. If you're using, use your install Nano. Install Nano. Now that's all we need to go any further to make any calculations. I've edited this. To do now is to go Vagrant, and for the host is not within. Oh, so you can. This is the 6. Understand the particular IP range that your virtual boxes are. Good thing is that it has. I'm trying to look for have some that has given me the IP range.
56. So all I just need to do is
to go my nano and put it
of 56,
probably dot 10,
but just do 56
dot 10. Okay, let's give it an odd 18.
Let's
Save it. Vagrant up again. That's it. So it's running. Our Vagrant going to run. Please, there was a popular most people were expecting. Can you explain what's Beatrice Stanley? Can you that popular error so that I can see the popular error? My it says
okay.
This is coming up. I did not see how you edited the IP part. I use now IP part. You can use VI, or you can use whichever one makes you very interesting.
What I'll do is Vagrant SSH. And you can see the IP I
used already. It's showing on the network parts.
Because of this,
it says just your
config.
IF config is not installed. Okay, so it. You did not set your private network to DHCP. No one set my private network to DHCP. I gave my private network direct IP.
How do we install Nano? That depends on what you're using.
You use YAML, you use Yum for CentOS. So for CentOS machine, that's the thing. IP number.
I got the IP number because
for every virtual box it takes an IP range, and
a private IP range is actually assigned to the
virtual
to get my IP number
from range from the message I got. You could also
box, you can get the IP ranges there.
Yeah, Choco install, I know why. That's for Windows users. So ifconfig. Yes. Voila. Yeah, actually assigned to it. Ouch. Okay. Yes, we can. So I will do it. I did not go through training, so I will actually give us a dynamic IP rather than giving it a static IP. Actually give us a static IP, but right now I do a DHCP IP. It would rather than for us to use a dynamic IP in this type, then you change this to DHCP and we're good. Do you understand what? I mean, I've actually done the DHCP.
I have the option of either using a static IP
or DHCP IP. Samuel, is he lost?
And I will do
a Vagrant up again. Start it up. That's sorry, I hope I pronounced your name properly.
Actually,
Yeah, it can actually be fun. Let's be very kind to some of us. Not every one of us is very good at going navigating the internet. What resources you feel people let's try to share with them? Good. So I have grants up and my background SSH. Now it has within the same IP range, 56.3. So I'm sure I hope this is this clear enough. You can see it's 56. I've done that, and I can now. Okay, that's fine. I can do the IF config, so you can see. You can see my IP is 56.3, which is another IP that was generated because I deleted. I made it. Okay. Now, for additional, I would also like to say let's say, why don't we try to see if we can install I'll try to see if we can install. Okay. And let's see what install Apache. Oh, sorry. I want to install Apache. Apache is just okay. I just want to give this a URL that we can see through, something that we can just take a look at. So system, it's just an extra, just how this works, and something else. So next, enable it. Anybody have anyone ever use this stuff? Oh, let's just call it HTTP. Why? Ensuring okay. It's not saying it. See, okay, good. Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah, Apache, but it should be systemctl 2, Apache 2. So clear. Now be shutting down the system because I'll need to make some configurations. So exit. Oh Lord. No. Please. Apache is just a website. It's not purpose of this. I'm just trying to show. I'm just trying to
A UI.
just trying to show us a UI on what we can also use Vagrant to do. No one should be afraid or no one should be confused. Stop being confused. Please stop being confused. I just added what we already just
No.
oh,
It's just
Apache I installed. Okay. That I'm not going any.
I will let's continue from where we stopped.
Answer. I'm not spicy. I'm not going to use Apache. We all shouldn't be worried. You are going to use Apache eventually. That is all part of cloud. So Linux shell. But before we go to the next topic, I would like to just take some question and answer. What are you talking about? We need data to install Nano or other things on the. Do we need data? Yes, you need internet to actually install those because it pulls them from the internet. Network thing. It's just a test so that you can also access. Now, private networks you can have direct access into your. You give it. You put it in the same network so you can have direct access to it. But please, can I go back to the environment on my CMD? Just type ex, type exit, and into Linux command. I followed your step, but I'm getting say host Vagrant installed on that system connected to the internet. And if you are there must be something in your file that's blocking that or your proxy. That's how do you sign after pressing exit? Just do Vagrant up already running. That to sort that out. I think I'll a couple of times. That SSH to enter into your command line. After Vagrant, there are some other Vagrant, some other Vagrant command lines if it is necessary, because I don't want that we don't have to lose. If destroy, all I just need to do is Vagrant destroy, and I would not. You can decide how of your machines snapshot. You use Vagrant share if you want to share that particular. So, like we said, there are different ways of sharing. You can actually share your machine You can also use the Vagrant port forward command that is to port forward the particular port to your host. Right, guys, I enjoyed this session. Please, if you're enjoying, get a big yeah. If you're enjoying this session, can I get a Bamio? Gege. Water break. If you know you want a water break, please can I break as the next last? Ayomide, please feel free to ask questions. Water break, Egbami, food break. Well, even me, I even need lecture break too. Everything break. All right, guys. Now let's go into the Linux shell. I've already explained Linux. The shell is more like your user in one of the we can actually use in communicating with the Linux panel. Types of Linux: the Bourne shell, the Bourne shell, the Korn shell, the Z. That I so love the that I love it. So these are some of the commands that you can actually run on your Linux mesh. Now, these are what we call the directory. My screen. Oh, cool. I'm sorry, but I think we all training, so that's a little about the. So the commands that are actually existing. So when all your becomes pre-default to some of these commands, mode, copy, the /bin in the /bin folder. There's some exception. The bash command. The bash command is what allows you to. The cat command is what allows if you the chmod, which is a change mode command, is what allows changing the and all that. The flip command is what allows you specify a particular resource or a particular command. You probably, okay, let's take for instance you in an entire file and you just want to get every one thing from that file. You can use the grep file to do that. Now, please, can you guys all just check your internet? The etc folder is where you have the configuration files for the system. You don't you try not to go in there. It's because any error affect. The SB is just the essential system binaries, just like the user. The for you, the SB is for the Linux system itself. Can you all hear me? Please just, and I can continue talking. Yes. Then you have the user folder. User applications support and all that are stored. You have the VAR folder, which is where the variable data files are stored. You have other folders like the MNT folder, mounted the LIB folder where libraries have been the you store your home directories and so on and so forth. Now, command the anatomy of Linux command.
Now, so we have
so I'm
example we have here echo hello world world. .txt. So I'm using the selection file.
I'm using the ZH line, and that's H command line. That's the reason why
it's giving me,
but with the location I currently am, documents out Cloud folder. I'm telling it to make a command,
which is
make an echo command.
Is
make an echo command. Echo the word. Print out
hello world,
and the arrow sign.
Yes, is a destination command
that says print out. Push it into and what you have, and this print push out what you just print into hello world text file.
Press enter. Happens is that we're going to see in here. And if I do this,
I cut text file.
You should see hello world in it.
Does anyone said
that's just
the
anatomy or analogy
of the
yes scripts.
I'll take off questions again.
So I'll take off the last ones that have come up, the last 5, last 8.
How exit was do we install Nano?
No, it's not compulsory.
You can use Vim.
Whatever is you do with
more
VM and VirtualBox, so
I'm quite confident.
Great.
Ubuntu
system. Windows like water.
Ubuntu is
system.
Machine
is
a hard
that has been partitioned. It's a partitioned
hard, like I give the analogy of
it's like where you have bare metal is man living in a duplex.
So his wife, children are more like the light, and so on.
Particular server.
A virtual machine
for families who are living in a house of 4 flats. So you build a house and you divide it into 4 flats, so 4 different flats. That's what I mean by it. Then a hostel is a big building, rather a big room that have more living in there with the mattresses and so on. But they're all living in one room, like a shared room. It's what do you call it? What they just have. It's So
that's the explanation. That helps provision virtual machines on your. Can you use the IP to connect to client while
you cannot.
Using Ubuntu
Using Ubuntu from
Microsoft Store means
Linux as a sub OS.
it works, but it's not flexible. So thank you very much. Turn off your Defender and let us know what this error is. Can you expand? Okay, I will try to understand what the English means.
Expatiate more
on why wins
lecture box.
Just a test proposed.
It's just for the purpose of this
training. So you can start to use and the remainder of
this
the networking to really go.
GCP is
dynamically
dynamically
assign IP. IP is an internet protocol. That's how you can actually come. So every
system has an IP. Every system in the world has an IP.
Every on internet has an IP. Your phone has anything that has access to it is how it will
be communicated. That's how it's going to be reached.
Reached through an IP. So a Linux command. No,
Linux commands are not scripts. And which language is used to create the Linux command?
Bash,
Python, Golang,
they used to create Linux command.
You don't need to learn to create Linux commands.
That's
I myself don't know how to
command. All right. Can go further.
Now we've spoken about the Linux shell, the Linux commands.
There are different Linux commands. I think with some of them.
pwd, the present directory.
That's what it means.
So that's the present working directory of my system.
Which
other command is
here? cd directory and ls. So here
ls here means list.
Directory here,
I call it
test. If you do cd test, and you can
so simple and very straightforward.
The next thing is file operations and file operations. So a couple of things that I think I've actually taken us through some of
previous week
on web.
That is the for instance, I want to move hello world directory on this same folder.
All I just need to do is to use the move command, copy the hello world.txt, move to
my
Conrad document alt school
and what else? Sorry, hope you can see
my screen. Or cloud, Vagrant,
and what else is here? And text.
Hello world, which is
now into this file
in
folder
test
folder. So you can see the hello world now in this folder.
What other
to see a cat command, a touch file,
copy cat
So, like I mentioned,
you can use touch to
file. So once we do that,
you've created. So yeah,
you can use cards to see what is on the file.
Shows us because
file initially, and actually what's going on your file.
So
Giving us
the last words
or the last 50 lines of words on that file. Please.
Any questions? Any questions, please?
Hello?
Yeah, you have a couple of questions there in the comments.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Jerry. Hey, I'm not hearing my guys again.
Yeah, so you're not
and I'm
supposed to be able
seeing
to hear them. They're making comments.
No, I know.
I'm not seeing
Yeah, even I'm now seeing create.
inside my
Okay, you're in the wrong place. Go to
things.
session. Go to session, not event.
Oh,
You're in
okay,
event.
okay.
Go to
Okay.
session. You can see all the comments
Okay.
there.
Thanks, events.
All right.
So thanks again.
Does anybody
Please feel free to bomb me with your confusions. You have to really
have to disable our net to be able to access? No, you don't need to. You can actually access that directly. You don't need to